Welcome to the Content 10X Podcast, the show where content creators learn how to harness the power of content repurposing. And now, your host, Amy Woods.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Content 10X Podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and this week I'm comparing making people aware of your content in the same way that the film industry makes people aware of new movies. So the funny thing is that even the best movie in the world wouldn't be watched if nobody knew about it. So if nobody knew it existed, it could be the best movie in the world, but nobody would watch it. And your content is the same. So the best blog in the world, the best video in the world, podcast, whatever it may be, it may well be the best, but if nobody knows that it exists, then nobody is going to listen, read, or watch. Nobody wants that. But what I find too often is that people don't really realise that just creating the content is not really in itself enough. So what about if you treated the publishing of your content in the same way that the release of a new movie is treated in the movie industry? So let's look at the ways that movies are advertised and promoted and how you could do similar with your content. And repurposing comes into all of this, okay? So it's all kind of based on repurposing that great piece of content. And I'm going to talk through 4 different ways that you can do this. So number 1, the good old movie trailer. So we've all seen movie trailers. This is where some of the best bits of the movie are taken out and put together into a short trailer to whet the appetite of viewers. So I really love movie trailers. I like to get to the movies early just to actually see the movie trailers. So it's quite funny. I actually enjoy being advertised at when it comes to future movies. And I do think they are really effective. So you can create your movie trailer, so to speak, too. So for your content, you can do a few things. So if your content is a video anyway, and you want more people to watch the video, then create short teasers of your video, short trailers of your video. So pick out fun and interesting, engaging clips and create your own trailer. So create snippets of your video. And I provide lots of tips on how to do this in episode 38 of the Content 10X podcast. So head on over to that content10x.com/38. So you can create video trailers from your video content fairly easily because you have video as your source content. Now, you could also create a video trailer of your podcast as well. And this is something that we do with lots of our clients. So this is where you take the best bits of audio and you pair them with images and you create a short, maybe like 1 to 3 minute trailer of your podcast episode. Share more about this in episode 36 of the podcast. So content10x.com/36, and that's on epic podcast repurposing. And within that, I cover creating video trailers. And for a blog post, you can create videos based on blog posts as well. So if you don't want to be on screen, you can share text with images and play some music or do a voiceover. And you can refer to my episode with Jason Shao, founder of Animoto, episode 67, so content10x.com/67, where we talk about his tool, Animoto, and there are other tools out there as well that you can use. Biteable, for example, and Lumen 5, where you can turn blog posts into videos, and perhaps you could create a great short video trailer. But what I also really recommend, and something that I really think people should do, is what I talk about in episode 58 of the podcast, and that is creating fresh, new content video trailers where you jump on camera and in less than 1 minute or so, you tell people about your content. So what it's about, why they should care, what value they would get, and really just provide those highlights to people to entice them to go and consume the content. So whether that's a podcast episode, a blog post, or another video, you can still create that shorter video of you on camera that's separate to the original content, telling people why your new piece of content is something that they do not want to miss. And then let's just look at where movie trailers are distributed. So they're distributed really widely, aren't they? When you think that you can go to the cinema and you can see the movie trailers played before you see the film that you've gone to see. Sometimes you can see them on TV. Sometimes they are even shown on Netflix. Sometimes you see them on, for example, YouTube before you are going to watch what you want to watch. You sometimes see movie trailers, and often on websites as well. That's often when Google ads are being used and they are being placed on different websites as well, or Facebook ads where it's a broader distribution network. So there's lots of different places that movie trailers are, and there's lots of places that your trailer can go as well. So that could go on YouTube, but not just placed in YouTube on your channel, but you could consider running it as a YouTube ad as well. Also on Facebook again, on your page, on your group, but also you could run that as a Facebook video ad. And on Instagram, on Twitter, and all the places where your audience are that you can put video content. So that's creating your own video trailer, your movie trailer. So number 2 is visual content. So movies are often advertised on big billboards, aren't they? And also, you'll see them in magazines, and it's all kind of coming soon, like, the big release of a new film. Sometimes you see this on social media as well, and on various websites that you go onto. And you can create your own big billboards too, so to speak. So basically creating engaging visuals and share them where your audience are. Let them know that your content is coming soon. So it's not just about when it's live. Why not take a leaf out of the movie industry's book and let people know that it's coming soon, and create a little bit of a buzz about it? Give people a reason to care, make them excited, spread your visual content really far and wide, and consider placing an ad spend. I mentioned that you could place an ad spend on your video if you placed it on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram. You could do the same with your visuals as well. But think about what locations would you consider to be great? Where are your billboards, and how can you get your visual content about your post, your podcast, your video up there so people can see it? So number 3, when a movie comes out, you see the main stars doing the rounds on all the main talk shows, don't you? So in the UK, we have the Graham Norton show on a Friday night and the Jonathan Ross show. In the US, you've got Ellen, you've got all the late shows, Jimmy Kimmel. And when these big movies come out, you'll see the main stars being interviewed, won't you, again and again and again, usually. So how could you follow a similar approach? Because that approach does work. So you could guest on other people's shows, you could guest on podcasts, you could guest on people's live streams, on webinars. So where are your audience? Who already has their attention? And would they like to speak with you? Could you speak with them about your new pieces of content? So maybe you don't do this for every piece of content, but certain kind of epic pieces of content that you could actually go and speak, just like people speak on these shows and podcasts about books. You can speak about great pieces of content that you have created. So you might not be going on the Jimmy Kimmel show or the Late Show with Conan O'Brien. Is that the Late Show with Conan O'Brien? But it may not be Conan or Jimmy, but I'm sure there are people like that in your industry that have your audience's attention, and you could be interviewed just like the stars of these movies are and talk about how great your content is. So last up, number 4, create an experience. So when movies get released, they have big movie premieres and the red carpet and after parties, and loads of people get involved in the release of a movie. So what could you do? How could we kind of look at taking a leaf out of the movie industry's book with this? So maybe you could go live on your social media platform where your audience hang out. So let's say you were on Facebook, then you could do a big live party in a way where you get people to come along and you share more knowledge and you take questions and you engage with your audience, share more golden nuggets, and you get people super interested in your topic, and then you get them to go and watch your great video or they read your great blog post or whatever your content may be. So going live to talk a little bit more and share in the experience, that's really the key thing here. To create an experience and a bit of a buzz basically is a great thing to do. And you can do this before your content comes out, create a buzz and then release the content, as well as doing it when your content is out as well. So that's a really good thing to consider. Okay, so there you go. That's 4 ways that you can treat your content like a movie. And all of these ideas are a form of repurposing because you're creating the content first and then you are repurposing in a promotional way to add value and get more eyes onto your content. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Content 10X podcast. Now, if you need any help with your content repurposing, then look no further because at Content 10X, we provide a full end-to-end content repurposing service. So please do get in touch if you want to find out any more at content10x.com. And if you liked today's episode, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a review of the podcast and maybe even hit the subscribe button too. And please do also follow us on social media with the handle Content10X on pretty much every platform. So all that's left to say is thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.